Welcome to Flipped Classroom. This is part 2 of the inductive and deductive reasoning lecture. In the first video, we learned that inductive reasoning is a great way to draw a conclusion, but it is not a perfect form of reasoning. In this lecture, you will also find out that deduction is another excellent form of thought process, but it too is not perfect. In deductive reasoning, you would look at the facts and draw a conclusion. The opposite is true in deductive reasoning. You start with a very general statement that would apply to a number of situations. Then apply that generalization to specific instances. So while inductive starts with facts, draw a conclusion, deductive starts with that conclusion, that generalization, and proves it with facts. Let's take an example with the generalization that all students need a 2.0 GPA to qualify for financial aid. A specific fact is Valerie earned a 2.0. Very specific fact is Valerie will earn financial aid. In the Toulmin model, deductive reasoning has specific terminology. We call it the major premise, the generalization, the minor premise, a specific fact, and a conclusion, a very specific fact. Applying this terminology, the major premise would be all students need to earn a 2.0 to qualify for financial aid. The minor premise, Valerie earned a 2.0, and the conclusion, therefore, Valerie will earn financial aid. For those of you who are Sherlock Holmes fans, this method, syllogism, is what he used. For example, his major premise might have been, all men with chalk dust on their fingers are school teachers. The minor premise, this man has chalk on his fingers. Conclusion, therefore, he must be a school teacher. Syllogism is valid when the deductive conclusion is logically consistent and there's no other conclusion as possible. So let's apply this to Sherlock Holmes' conclusion. All men with chalk dust on their fingers are school teachers. This man has chalk on his fingers. Therefore, he must be a school teacher. This is invalid. Just because two things share the same attribute doesn't mean they're the same thing. So would you ask yourself, is the major premise true? Do all school teachers have chalk on their hands? Well, the answer is definitely no. I haven't used a chalkboard in years, and I'm a teacher. Athletes use chalk on their hands. Artists can have chalk on their hands. So the major premise is incorrect, causing the deductive reasoning to fail. The syllogism is invalid. Here's another example. The major premise, all communists oppose organized religion. Minor premise, William Roe, he opposes organized religion. Therefore, William Roe is a communist. In this thought process, communist and William Roe both oppose religion. But just because two things share the same attribute, communist and William Roe, does not mean they are the same thing. Just because both oppose religion does not make William Roe a communist. So is the premise true? No. The deductive reasoning fails. An enthymeme is the two parts of the syllogism. Here's an example. Did you hear about Valerie's son? He has a cavity. That's too bad, but I'm not surprised. I know he always refuses to go for his annual dental cleaning. There's an assumption in here, a warrant, a general principle that establishes a connection between the support and the claim. In this case, the general principle is if you don't go to the dentist every year to get your teeth cleaned, you are going to have a cavity. But we know that isn't always true. That is a false assumption. While it's good advice to go to the dentist every year, people can get cavities for reasons other than going to the dentist once a year. So be cautious about the assumptions, these generally held beliefs, because they can lead you to an illogical conclusion. So in review, deduction is a process of applying generalization to a particular instance. A syllogism, the simplest deductive arguments, they consist of two premises and a conclusion. The conclusion from deduction is valid if both the premises are true. For more information, refer to your textbook, Elements of Argument. Thank you for joining me today in Flipped Classroom.